So something may have changed this last year. But this general pattern of declining probability of crossing the Mara River corresponds to other data that we've, other analyses that we have that really suggests that if you look at the distribution patterns of the wildebeest, and again, this is just based on our GPS collar data, the areas where they're spending less time across this 20-year period where we've been monitoring them, a couple areas really stand out, particularly areas north of the Mara River and in Kenya. And so the wildebeest do seem to be spending significantly less time than they used to in those northern parts of the ecosystem. On the other hand, they're spending more time in other parts of the ecosystem, and we think that actually may be related to rainfall patterns. It has been wetter in some areas of Serengeti National Park in the south and in the west than normal in recent years. So there may be a push and pull effect going on, but there's obviously a lot of things going on in the Mara in the north, a lot of tourism, fencing, other potential reasons why wildebeest may want to spend less time. So just to summarize, rivers are a major obstacle and source of mortality for mobile terrestrial species such as wildebeest. Wildebeest river crossings are most likely in mid-morning and when vegetation is greener on the opposite side. Tourism is positively associated with river crossings, but unlikely to have a positive impact on fine-scale crossing behavior. We know that if you observe lots of tourists around wildebeest as they're crossing, it really does disturb the herd. They become stressed, and in some cases they'll cross multiple times, and there's kind of a very strong herding behavior that can lead to a lot of injuries and sometimes drownings. Wildebeest cross multiple times a year and do not seem to be sensitive to river discharge levels, but because discharge is not a signal of risk to them, this could be concerning if there's changes in hydrology over time, particularly the timing of flooding events relative to when the migration is trying to cross. Generally, declining rates of crossing the Mara River suggest benefits of northern movement may be decreasing, and we suggest continued monitoring for those coming years. Yep. Thanks very much. This was really a big effort by a lot of people and support through TANAPA and TAWIRI. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for the nice presentation. I'll be having a question at the end of all presentations. Is Rene around or not yet? Rene. Okay, so let's proceed. Let me call upon 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, and he will be presenting a paper with this title, Spatial Avoidance and Behavior Adaptation of Chimpanzees to Human Disturbance in a Savanna Mosaic Habitat, a case study of Isa Valley, Tanzania. Karibu Simula.
Asante. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I'm 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, a researcher and also currently a student. So I'll be presenting on the title that is Spatial Avoidance and the Behavior Adaptation of Chimpanzee to Anthropogenic Disturbance in the Isa Valley. So in this study, I'm working with a number of people that highlighted it there in the title. So just a quick overview of the study species. Yeah, we know chimpanzee, this is the great ape species that are grouped together with orangutan, bonobo, and the gorillas. Together, all these are in the great ape species groups. So among all the great ape species, chimpanzee are the most close relative to us, as we share most of their DNA with us, and they behave more similar in many ways with us. So currently, chimpanzee are categorized as endangered, their population are declining, and also their habitat are being encroached through different human activities. So in Tanzania, chimpanzee are distributed only in Western Tanzania, in the Katavi, Kigoma, and also a little bit Rukwa region. And their range in there are also being facing some different anthropogenic disturbances, making their range to shrink. So there are 4 subspecies of chimpanzee currently known: the Western chimpanzee, the Nigerian Cameroon chimpanzee, also the Central chimpanzee, and the Eastern chimpanzee. Among all these 4 subspecies, for us in Tanzania, we have the Eastern chimpanzee. So literal distribution and the status of this Eastern chimpanzee in Tanzania is that I've always said they're just distributed in Western Tanzania, and their population are declining due to various human disturbances in their ranges. Currently, their populations are estimated to be less than 2,500 individuals in the world, and about 75 of this population are living outside the national park boundaries, meaning outside the Gombe National Parks and also outside the Male National Parks. So outside their national parks, they face various human disturbances. So worldwide or in Africa, chimpanzees have been reported to live in an anthropogenic environment where the habitat are encroached by different human activities. And there are some studies that have shown that considering the intelligence nature, chimpanzees are able to show diverse adaptive measures in those environments so that they can survive. There are studies that have shown that chimpanzees exhibit behavioral flexibility to make sure that they adapt in the environment so that they can survive. So a lot have been done in other areas, not in Tanzania context. So they have been also reported like to change their diet, where their diet decline, and also to where the environment, where they nest, they are just being declined, meaning the nesting material. They have been also observed to use composite nests where they use what are available. And also, in some places, chimpanzees have been observed to nest on the ground where their nesting material were not in there. So in Tanzania, well said, most of chimpanzees live outside national park boundaries, about 75% of the current population in the country. So in there, they face various anthropogenic disturbances, including, so this is one of the area outside the national parks. It is a research base in Tongwe forest reserves, and the cattle are coming closer even to the camp. And also, as you can see, there are some cases where chimpanzees have been attacked by dogs, where the poachers move around the area, and they resulted to the killing of some chimpanzees in there. And also, the cattle encroachment, people do cut some of the tree in their habitat to make these cattle bombers, and this also deteriorates their habitat. And there are also some activities of sustainable and unsustainable beekeeping practices, where some people do debarking to a certain tree of species, of which they save the important plant species that provide chimpanzee foods, and also they use as a nesting material. So this deteriorates the quality of the habitat of the chimpanzee, and hence to study what is really happening there. And also sometimes there are some temporary settlements where people put there so that they can engage in some activities like cultivation and other aspects. Cattle encroachment is higher there. So this picture was from a survey by JJ where we collaborated. So you can see there was a camera trap set in a particular area under the survey. And just after a chimpanzee passed, and also cat head passed in the similar place, which are accompanied by dogs and also a cattle header. So you can see how the environment outside national parks is. So this necessitates us to study how these disturbances influence or affect chimpanzee in their habitat. Have they adapted or developed mechanism to make sure they survive, or it is not? So under this study, we aimed to evaluate how anthropogenic disturbance affect chimpanzee activity, specifically ranging or nesting, and we predicted that chimpanzees tend to avoid the heavily disturbed areas. So this led us to test two hypotheses that they are posing, that chimpanzees are either unaffected or chimpanzees are negatively affected by human disturbances. So this is the third site this is Issa Valley. It is located in western Tanzania in Tongwe Forest Reserve, in part of Tanganyika district. So in here, there are chimpanzees that are habituated for research purposes, and focal follows are being made there to study their behavior and how they interact with the other aspect in the environment. So the study was conducted here, and the area as a habituated chimpanzee, about 25 individuals that are known, and the record have been taken when they are being followed. So to collect the data under this study, first I thought it's important to document or to collect data on the disturbance types in the area. So we had a home range for chimpanzee that are under research, and we just generated a random transect about 20 in the home range for the chimpanzee, where we walked along the transect to observe and record the different human disturbances. And also when we were navigating from one transect to another, we used the rec walks, where we recorded the additional information to supplement those which were collected on during the transect walks. So, and these points where GPS coordinates were taken for each human disturbance type recorded, and also chimpanzee signs observed. And this was vital so that we can utilize this GPS point to see if there is any avoidance or adaptation to those human disturbances. So based on the data that we collected, that for the case of human disturbances, so those are the dots that show different human disturbances that were recorded, and the far left, that we start with the cattle. Those are the signs of cattle that were recorded, and in the middle you see the fire signs, and the right, the dogs, the point where dogs were encountered or their signs were observed. And also for the chimpanzee sign, there is where we recorded when we were walking along the transect and during the left walk. So in the far left, you find the chimpanzee nest and the chimpanzee faces. Chimpanzee nests are denoted by the black dot, and the faces were denoted by the green dots. And in the middle, live individual, where we counted the live individuals, and also the green dot where chimpanzee were head calling, and in the far right where chimpanzee tracks and food remains were observed. So this record were taken to make sure that we assess where if there is overlap or there is divergence between these chimpanzee signs and the human disturbance. So the analysis aimed to assess where if there is overlap or co-occurrence pattern between human disturbance types and chimpanzee signs. So we use kernel density estimation, where we utilize the pointy data for human disturbance types and also chimpanzee signs. So this kernel density estimation aimed to show the hotspot or the density of the human disturbance site across the study area, and also use chi-square test and multilinear regression to assess the association between chimpanzee and the different habitat types. So this is the disturbance heat map based on the signs that were recorded. So in the left-hand side, you can see map A, that is denote cattle, where cattle were cattle signs or were encountered. And if you see to the scale or ligand, you can see the more brown, purple, a little bit yellow. That's so the hotspot where cattle signs were so many. And also the same to the fire and the same to the dogs. Here the human disturbance, the chimpanzee signs were observed. The ligand is the same. The more brown indicate where the chimpanzee densities were more, and followed by the purple and the yellow, and then up to the less one. And also where live encounter of chimpanzee were observed, and also chimpanzee calling. So to assess the association between human disturbance and the chimpanzee nesting, or chimpanzee sign and anthropogenic disturbances. So we use chi-square test, where the result shown that there were strong relationship or strong association between disturbance types and the chimpanzee presence. You can tell from the p-value, where you find that these variables were very related, that is, one can influence another. So based on the data recorded, we conclude that all disturbance types showed zero overlap. There was no overlap with chimpanzee signs and at the observation level. This indicated some avoidance pattern. And also using multilinear regression analysis, so we examined how chimpanzee activity affected or influenced by multiple factors like cattle density, dogs, and also fire density. So in this regression analysis, there was a statistically significant. However, if you take the R square, you can see that the predictor are contributing very weakly. So it seemed like he needed to go to a specific predictor to know how it's contributing to the model. So only cattle density had a statistically significant positive effect on the nest count, and also this meant that an increase in cattle disturbance density by 1 unit associated with an increase in approximately 0.615 chimpanzee nests. So this relationship may reflect chimpanzee have started to tolerate the presence of cattle, or they have adapted to the area with low moderate or grazing intensity. Or on the other hand, maybe there is a time gap where when the chimpanzee use the area, cattle are not there, and vice versa may be correct. So, but for the case of fire density and the dogs density, these were not significant. So to conclude, this finding underscore the importance of minimizing high intensity land use, particularly fire and unmanaged grazing near the chimpanzee core areas, and also the need to have the buffer zone. And as we can see from this research, this contributed to the growing body of knowledge emphasizing behavior adaptability and adaptability of chimpanzee in mixed land use scales. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simula, for the nice presentation. I'll be having a question as well after we have heard the last presenter. Paul Mjema. Paul will present a paper with this title, Mapping Risks in Chimpanzee Habitats Using GIS Tools, Modeling Threats Encountered, Rate, and their Influence on Nest Occurrence in Msitu. Karibu.
Thank you so much. My name is Paul Mjema. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so I'm going to present a paper named Mapping Risk in Chimpanzee Habitat Using GIS Tools, Modeling Threat Encounter Rates and their Influence on Nest Occurrence in the Gombe-Ugala ecosystem, or the similar ecosystem, but that Maijo has just presented, but mine will be like broader area than what he presented, but most of the stuff will be like related to each other. So I'm here, but my colleagues, Deus, I think Deus is here, but Uruma is not here. Yeah, so I'll be presenting on behalf. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 ecosystem. So this ecosystem lies in Western Tanzania with about almost 5,000 square kilometers, the area that our study was. So we have already conducted 3 chimpanzee surveys in 2020, 2022, and 2024 with the standardized transects in 28 sites. So these are the sites that we designed our study, and in each site we had 16 transects, and every transect has a distance of 1 kilometer. So the area is rich in biodiversity, chimpanzees, as what Maijo has just explained, but also the area is under the UNESCO's Man and Biosphere Preserve. So its importance is very critical. So one of the challenges existing in this landscape, I just pick one of them, forest loss. I just took this information just on the transect areas on buffer of 50 meters, the area that we were interested in. So trying to see how the forest loss is doing, it is increasing. It's highly disturbed landscape with human activities and encroachment, as the previous presenter has just explained. These are the challenges: tree cut, fire, charcoal making, temporary settlement, all happening in this landscape, but also cultivation. This is paddy farms. So objective of our study was to assess how anthropogenic threats influence chimpanzees' occurrence using GIS and statistical modeling. So we wanted to know, it's closely related to what Maijo has just presented, but ours was specifically on nesting and the human or anthropogenic factors between the nests and the disturbances. So from the 3 chimpanzee surveys that we conducted in this area, similar methodologies and almost similar pattern. So we had 2,000 and so GPS points from buffer areas, 50 meters in both sides of the transect, that we had our effort from start to end of the transect. We also had 700 threats points that were only on this buffer area of 50 meters, both sides of the transect. So these threats include tree cut, cultivation, snare, cattle poaching. But also we wanted to utilize data from Forest Loss, University of Maryland, by Hansen, etc., but also from Google, USGS, and NASA. Forest cover data from the same source, but also we wanted also to check with the environmental factor, the issue of slope. So on methodology, almost similar methodologies to Maijo. I think we need to combine maybe this work, kernel density, but also we extracted environmental variables to point, and then we did a logistic regression to see if there's any avoidance or correlation between threats and nests. So our results showed that the logistic regression indicated that forest cover and slope were strongly and positively related, associated with chimpanzee nest occurrence. So it means that as more forest cover you have, our forest cover scale was according to the data that we had from 0 no forest to 100, that you have cover canopy, like covering the entire area. So the more forest cover you have, the more probability of encounter the nest of chimpanzee, but also the slope, the steep slope, the more probability of having chimp nests. Forest loss also and nest density were negatively associated, but also nest probability increased 45-fold with increasing forest cover, and more than 1,400-fold in steep terrain. So chimpanzee prefers most in the steep terrain because maybe, human disturbances is somehow less. But also forest loss reduced the nest probability by 98%, while threat density reduced it by 67. So these threats are the threats that we collected when we were doing these chimpanzee surveys. So overall, the model explained 27% of deviance, and they achieved an overall classification accuracy of 78.3. This is one of the strong predictions in model performance for the ecological studies. But for the other studies, it might seem like weak, but for the ecological, this is still explaining a lot about the nest occurrences. So takeaway point from the results is that chimpanzees survive best in intact forest areas. as we have seen. So it means the more disturbance we have, then the less probability that the chimpanzee will prefer that landscape. Forest destruction and the other human-induced threats are directly pushing chimpanzee out of its usable habitat, although there are sometimes they have to adapt in some few areas. Protecting remaining forests will have the greatest conservation impact, particularly for endangered chimpanzees. Law enforcement and land use planning should prioritize high-risk zones near roads and settlements that we have already seen that chimpanzees are trying to avoid those areas. Of course, we have this data, so GIS modeling and the data that we have can help in directing this law enforcement effort so that at least the protection and the effort to save the remaining forest for the chimpanzees remain, or the threats get lower as days go on. So thank you so much. Thanks to district and regional government, TAWIRI, General Institute where I'm working, ASIRI for providing these tools, but also the data from University of Maryland. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mjema. And you have saved us like 5 minutes. Asante sana. Please take your seat. Audience, one round of applause to the 5 presenters. Now the floor is open for questions, comments, suggestions to assist the 5 presenters. Karibuni.
Thank you. My question goes to Maijo. He mentioned that chimps tend to, the last guy mentioned that chimps tend to survive best in areas which are less disturbed. But Maijo mentioned that chimps were not affected by fire disturbance. So I was asking myself why fire disturbance is not affecting the chimps.
Thank you for the question. I had the same question. Either of the two, you can respond.
Thank you, Macrina, for a nice question. So generally, chimpanzees tend to avoid areas where there is severe disturbances. But when they fail to do so, they find a mechanism to adapt. So there's some behavioral flexibility or adjustment to make sure that they do adapt and they continue to live in a particular area. So for the case of fire, is that almost every year, a large portion of area where they live is burned. So it's not, this cannot necessitate them to abandon the area so that they cannot use it anymore, because almost of the things that are burned are mostly terrestrial, like the herbs and something like that. But most of the resources that chimpanzees depend on are from trees, specifically leaves and also fruits. So I think there they can find some mechanism to adapt. Maybe Mjema can add on that.
Before you give mic to Mjema, you have concluded that as the density of cattle increases, so is the positive behavior of chimpanzee nesting. Are you telling us that we should encourage coexistence between cattle and chimps?
No, that is not the case. But according to the data that we collected, that the result that I reported is that what came out. But there was some 2 scenarios that either chimpanzees have adapted to live in the cattle presence, or maybe there is a time gap between the time when the chimpanzee and the cattle use the particular habitat. So you need to maybe to focus more on the spatial-temporal aspect to make sure that we capture all the aspects.
Thank you. Mjema, anything to react?
Thank you, Professor. I just wanted to add on, I think for the rangeland professionals here, Miombo woodland every year gets burned almost like maybe 90% of it. So I think for that is not a surprise, because the chimpanzee will need still to be there. Otherwise, they should have moved out of those forests. So the fire issue I think the chimpanzee will just go maybe to the riverine areas where there's water and then stays there for some times and then come back to the landscape that was burned. I just wanted to add on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There was a hand there.
Thank you. My question goes to, is actually also an advice to Professor Noah, because he was talking about the transboundary corridors and specifically about the structural and functional. And I just wanted to give my opinion, especially on the Tanzanian side, because we have already mapped all the corridors. We have the action plan, particularly on the Tanzanian side. And some of the priority corridors are those that he mentioned, particularly within the 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 project.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini, ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya The Royal Tour. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo, ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒄, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bayonuai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒅, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bayonuai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒗𝒅, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒗𝒅, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bayonuai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini.
Research Institute to share with you some important information about research. Dr. K, please, karibu.
So, good evening. First and foremost, let me thank you all. I know we are now near to touchdown. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming for our 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference. We are very much blessed because of your presence. And as you can see, the conference now is growing over years since the first conference in the year 2000. And it is increasing in the number of participants, but also as the number of presentations. So we are very much proud for your presence. So as we do in every of our conference, we just want to bring you some few updates from the Directorate of Research. Now I'm here as a Director of Research and not as a Chair of the Organizing Committee, just to give you some few tips on new things since we met 2 years ago. So I will just take 15 minutes just to give you some few updates, especially noting that all the researchers are almost handing down research activities to a new generation, and a number of students have been asking some of the issues related to coordination of wildlife research in the country. So you are welcome. So the first thing I want to share with you is that the Tanzania Commission for Science and Technology, which issues research permits, TAWIRI issues research ethics clearance. So we scrutinize the conservation merit, the scientific merit of your proposal and issue a research ethics clearance. It's not a research permit. Then we send our recommendations to the Tanzania Commission for Science and Technology, where the National Research Registration Committee is housed, and they are responsible for issuing research permits based on recommendations from research ethics committees. For wildlife, TAWIRI, for forestry, TAFORI, for livestock, TARIRI, for agriculture, TARI. It goes on like that. So COSTECH have moved on an online application system. Some of you have already now used it. So you have to do your application parallel to COSTECH and to TAWIRI. Now for COSTECH, it is an online system. You go at their website and you will find this word COSTECH RIMS. It stands for COSTECH Research Information Management System. And the COSTECH RIMS is a research portal. So in there, you will lodge your online application. So I urge you, for those who have not used it, go to the website, COSTECH website, visit the COSTECH RIMS to acclimatize yourself. But importantly, register in the COSTECH RIMS. Whether you are submitting a project proposal or you are not, just register. Because the day you will be submitting your project proposal, or if a lead author is submitting a research project proposal and you have not registered in the system, your PI will not be able to find your name. Because you just put first two letters, there is a drop-down menu of all researchers who have registered in the system. If you are not there, he has two options, whether to remove you as a co-applicant or communicate with you first to register before he comes in or she comes in for another day for submission of your application. So register. Whether you have a project, you don't have a project, register in the COSTECH RIMS. So this is how it looks like, COSTECH RIMS. Then you have to just register. Then you will put in all your information. If now you are coming in with an application, then you will enter through the sign in. Then you have the interface, you start filling in the application form. So that's all about COSTECH. Acclimatize yourself to the COSTECH RIMS. When it comes to the Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute, we also developed an online application system. Some of you have used it. We were piloting, and we have some few troubleshoots, but we have tested it, we have improvised it. What is remaining now is to link with the COSTECH RIMS so that there is these two research information systems, they are interoperable, so that you don't need to go to the COSTECH website and then come to the TAWIRI website to fill the same information. So we want to have one interoperable system. We can pull data and information what we want when you have submitted your application. And if you come through TAWIRI, COSTECH can pull what they want in their system using your application at TAWIRI. Currently, the two systems are not interoperable. We will let you know once they start working. But currently, use the COSTECH RIMS. For TAWIRI, we have advised you to continue with the normal email submission system. We will let you know when the online system has started working. So for TAWIRI, you will see on our website something written online application, NWRIS. It stands for National Wildlife Research Information. For TAWIRI, it's NAWRIS. For COSTECH, it is COSTECH RIMS. So that is your interface. Go to the online application system and then register if you are. But if you are registered, you are submitting a proposal, then go through the sign in gateway. So we will let you know when our system starts working. Currently, continue with your email submission to TAWIRI, but use the online submission to COSTECH. Use the online submission system to COSTECH. Everything is automated. Your permits and everything. So your permit will not come out if you have not gone through their system. So when it will start working, once you go to for the TAWIRI website, National Wildlife Research Information System, you will go to the research toolbar, you will look for ethics clearance, ethical clearance. We issue research ethics clearance. And then you will choose whether it is a new application or whether it is an extension or you are making an amendment of your research project proposal. So you will register. If you are not registered, when you are submitting, then log in with your username and password. Then you beef in the information required. That's all about research ethics clearance for COSTECH and TAWIRI. Then I will move to this thing. When we met 2 years ago, it was in place. But I've received so many questions from researchers on how to work on it. The Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute Act has one regulation, which was released via the government notes number 26228 of 14 August 2020. Go on our website, download. This is your important tool for all of your questions regarding research work on wildlife in Tanzania. So it is called as the Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute Conduct of Wildlife Research Regulations 2020. There are several parts, several sections. Read it and it will be a guiding tool. If you fail to understand anywhere, send us an email so that we can assist you. In a nutshell, I want to emphasize 3 parts. Part 1 is a general, but part 2, it is on application for registration of researchers for issuance of your research ethics clearance. What do you prepare in advance before going in your system, just then beefing up what the system will want? If it's your CV, if it's the project title. So read part 1 to see the requirements for submission of your project proposal. Part 2, it is on wildlife research specimens or research materials. A number of researchers are requesting to export biological materials where we don't have local capacity to do the necessary analysis in our country. And usually we allow you to export the biological materials after we have been assured that there is no local capacity in the country. And we encourage researchers to build capacity of our human resource and our local labs so that next time you can do everything in the country. Specifically, I want to say for wildlife specimens, you will need a zoo sanitary certificate or a zoo sanitary permit.
This is from the veterinary department. It is an online system. You go to Mifugo Mimis, Mifugo Management Information System. You will fill in what you want. But if it's plant specimens, you will be required to have a phytosanitary certificate from the Tanzania Plant Health and Pesticide Authority for plant specimens. If you are working on samples of a CITES listed species, whether it is an endangered, it's critically endangered, you will need a CITES permit or a CITES paper from the Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority, TAWA. And then you will need a material transfer agreement, an MTA, with TAWIRI, just to agree on the purpose of taking those materials outside the country. So those are the 4 things for those who want to export biological specimens: zoo sanitary certificate, phytosanitary if it's plants, CITES permit, and material transfer agreement. And we have some templates. If you have your own material transfer agreement, you can share it with us. If you don't, we use the institutional MTA. And for material transfer agreement, it is guided. This is one thing I wanted to update you, because when we met, the regulation was not in place in Tanzania. But because now the National Environment Management Act has released the regulation 2024, we have to comply with the Convention for Biological Diversity and the Nagoya Protocol when it comes to export of biological materials. Some years back, we have not been addressing the CBD and the Nagoya Protocol. So material transfer is guided by the Convention on Biological Diversity and the Nagoya Protocol on access to genetic resources and their fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization. So in the MTA, you will tell us, why are you taking the materials outside? Is it for non-commercial? It's purely science and whatever. And later, if something will emanate from the materials which were exported outside the country, then we will go to a mutually agreed terms that if there is anything has been invented from the materials that were exported in another lab, in another country, then we enter a mutually agreed terms based on what has been invented from the materials. So this is the Nagoya Protocol and ABS implemented in Tanzania through the Environmental Management, Access and Benefit Sharing of Genetic Resources Regulations 2024, which was a government notice number 368 of 17/2024. So it's just last year when we met in 2023, this regulation was not in place. And many countries now was becoming very stringent. Even if we give you a zoo sanitary certificate, a CITES permit, and also probably a material transfer agreement, in some countries you will not be able to, your materials will not be able to enter in that respective country if there is no compliance to the Nagoya Protocol and the Convention on Biological Diversity. Lastly, part 4, it is about research data and the information. It entails just furnish our institute with research information from your research work. We have various forums to share. This is one of the forums, but we make policy briefs, we do community meetings, we do stakeholders engagement. So furnish your research results, because if what you are doing, good work, spending a lot of money, if it's not being used, we count it not done. So we have to know what you have found in your research and if there are any recommendations so that they are used by wildlife managers, the government, decision makers, or policy makers. So furnish us that part. If you read, it tells all about masters, PhDs, 4 copies of your PhD thesis, 1 copy If you were in a national park, it goes to TANAPA. The second copy goes to COSTECH. The third copy comes to TAWIRI. The fourth copy goes to one of our universities. That is how your research materials or research work are distributed, especially for theses and dissertation. So read it so that you can share with us. And also it showcases for those who want to access data at TAWIRI, open access data, semi-restricted, restricted data, even accessing biological materials. It tells all. For master's students with little money, you can't go and immobilize an elephant. Putting an elephant, it is 16 million. And your budget at the university is 10 million. And your sample size is 20 elephants. You will not make it. So you write a letter through your university, send it to TAWIRI, and that framework entails if you need blood, you need tissue, you need skin. So there is a framework for research materials for students to access them. You just contribute a token, because they have been collected using a hell of money. Yeah, like population census. This year, we used the 4.7 billion Tanzanian shillings to do a country-wise census. Somebody wants to see population of buffaloes in Tarangire Manyara ecosystem. We used a lot of money, but anyway, you give just a token to smoothen our work, but we give you the data with some conditions. Lastly, immobilization and the collaring of animals. A lot of researchers are collaring some animals. Read it so that how to secure an additional permit in case your proposal was approved to immobilize an animal. Who should immobilize? If you are a foreign veterinarian, you have to be registered by the Veterinary Council of Tanzania before being allowed to do immobilization. So you can use TANAPA vets, TAWIRI vets, TAWA vets. We have a lot of vets, and it stipulates the various professional fees and related things for immobilization. And also some money, a deposit money at TAWIRI for collaring an animal if the collar you are using has no self-dropping off mechanism. We don't want animals to continue living with the collars on their necks for the whole of your life. So there is a lot of drop of collars. Savannah tracking was outside, you managed to saw them, but for elephants, we still have no drop off because elephant is a bulldozer of savannah. So you need to tight it seriously so that your collar can stay. So you deposit some money at TAWIRI for removing the collar. Once it's time to remove, you can find any vet, go and remove the collar, bring it to us, check it, same frequency, same call ID, we give back your money. Or you say, no, I don't want to do it myself, I gave money to TAWIRI, use that money to go and remove the collar. Or what a friendly system. So the choice is yours, whether to find a vet, remove it to you, bring it to TAWIRI, or tell us to use the money you deposited. So there are various fees and instructions on collaring of wildlife in Tanzania. So those are some of the few updates I wanted to share with you, especially the young generation. The gurus, they know how to do it, they know how it is being done, except for the CBD and the Nagoya Protocol, that was something new, but the rest, to them, it is just putting new wine in the bottle. But for the younger generation, download the conduct of wildlife research regulations in Tanzania so that you are fully acclimatized to compliance with our institutional and national frameworks. Thank you very much. I hope the guest of honor has arrived, unless there is one burning question, but you can send us an email, and because the document is online, we can communicate. Usually I say, we consider researchers as our stakeholders. So you will not face any unnecessary trouble. We will try to do our level best to make sure that your research is not jeopardized, provided that you are also open to compliance with the institutional and the national frameworks. Otherwise, you, our number one stakeholders, we will do our best to make sure that we have a conducive research environment for wildlife in Tanzania. Thank you very much.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya The Royal Tour. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama SGR, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bayonuai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒅, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bayonuai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒗𝒅 ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuza utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒆𝒗𝒅 ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuu za utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama 𝒓𝒔𝒄𝒄 ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania, sikukuu za utafiti tumepania.
Taasisi ya utafiti wa wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na
Guests of honor, welcome to the official closure of our 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference. And to begin our session, let me bring on the podium Dr. Keyu to share with us the resolution of this conference. Dr. Keyu, please, the podium.
Guest of honor, on behalf of the committee that was working on recommendations or resolutions from the 15th TAWIRI International Scientific Conference, here to present the conference resolutions from the committee. Let me just say that these recommendations are in making. They are still draft, fresh, because we have a number of presentations. So later they will be refined, shared with some of the conference participants, and later they will be a final version will be submitted to your office later, probably next week. So let me take 7 minutes just to read the recommendations. So we have 10 recommendations. The number one recommendation is that recognizing the role of innovation and technology in conservation and tourism, it is recommended that the government, institutions, and stakeholders should embrace innovation and technology for navigating in a changing world. Specifically, to embrace and integrate innovation and technology in conservation and tourism by using technologies such as artificial intelligence, ecoacoustics, GIS, remote sensing, camera traps, Internet of Things sensors, and DNA-based tools for species identification, wildlife movement tracking, population genetics, and biodiversity monitoring, as well as smart tourism. This is our first recommendation, and it has some sub-recommendations, as we'll see in our final submission. The second one is recognizing the importance of trophy hunting in conservation and as a financial tool, as well as its importance in community livelihood and development. It's recommended that trophy hunting should be well regulated and well managed for sustainable biodiversity conservation, and that policy, legal, and institutional frameworks for trophy hunting processes and procedures should be enforced and, where necessary, updated for sustainable wildlife conservation. The third one, noting the increase in imaging, re-imaging, as well as zoonotic diseases at the wildlife, livestock, or human interface, and their threat to biodiversity conservation, it is recommended to strengthen cross-sectoral collaboration, especially on One Health, build capacity at national, institutional, and local levels by provision of laboratory equipment and facilities, including modern tools for pathogen detection, metagenomics, and rapid field diagnostic kits. Number 4, realizing the increasing threat of invasive plants in protected areas and community rangelands, it is recommended to implement effective detection, control, and eradication of invasive species across ecosystems and support innovative, cost-effective, and sustainable use of invasive plants as sources of energy and other uses, like use of biomass in order to reduce ecosystem pressure due to invasive plants. Recommendation number 5, noting an increase in land use changes, habitat degradation, and habitat conversion in various ecosystems. It is recommended to deploy and enforce effective land use planning and ensure their implementation at all levels. We know in some places land use plans are there, but they are not being followed. You just see a signboard. This village is implementing village land use plan, but it's not enforced. So where they are, we are recommending to enforce, and where they are not existing, to develop them. Recommendation number 6, recognizing the importance of tourism in the national economy and community livelihood, as well as its dynamism, its multidimensionality, and the temporal aspects. It is recommended to strengthen and prioritize innovation in tourism policies, management, marketing, and technology. Plan and embrace changes in attitudes, behavior, knowledge related to tourism, and balance the triple bottom line of planet, people, and profit for sustainable tourism and destination. So we have to balance the triple bottom line between planet, Earth, that is environment, but people, and also profit. We can put so much emphasis on profit, then it will be at the expense of nature or environmental conservation. Number 7, recognizing the role of communities in wildlife conservation, it is recommended to promote inclusive community engagement and participatory decision-making in conservation planning and expand social empowerment initiatives, particularly for women, to participate in conservation activities and benefit from natural resources. Recommendation number 8, recognizing the transboundary or cross-border movement of wildlife. It is recommended to monitor transboundary or cross-border movement of wildlife in all borderlands. Border with Kenya, but border with Mozambique and other countries. And also strengthen transboundary collaboration of wildlife management with neighboring countries as the ultimate solution, and promote harmonization of policy, legislations, and capacity building on wildlife management. We have a presentation where northern Tanzania, southern Kenya, massive movement of elephants using rangelands on both sides of the country. So we need concerted efforts for cross-border conservation. Number 9, noting the importance of beekeeping for community livelihood and pollination services, it is recommended to promote sustainable and climate-resilient beekeeping as a nature-based solution that enhances pollination services, biodiversity conservation, and rural livelihoods, but also strengthen policy and institutional frameworks to support beekeeping integration into national land use, agricultural, and conservation strategies. Beekeeping is one of the user-friendly land management scenarios and compatible with wildlife conservation. Last but not least, Recognizing the importance of human resource capacity and the capability for enhancement of conservation and tourism, it is recommended to improve human resource capacity. Here it is in terms of number. There are places where the number of workforce for conservation and tourism is not enough, but there are places where the number might be okay, but the skills is not state of the art. So it is recommended to improve human resource capacity in terms of number and skills in conservation and tourism at all levels, strengthen conservation workforce through training and continuous professional development, that is CPDs, and enhancement of soft skills, improve staff welfare and motivation at all levels, especially for frontiers of conservation, and establish mental health awareness programs. We are crying for frontiers of conservation, especially the rangers. I think they have to be looked in a different eye. There are people who are at the front line, hustling with harsh environment, hustling with poachers, but their welfare, their motivation, to the view of our committee, is not yet satisfactory. So we are recommending at least the frontiers of conservation workforce, at least the motivation and their skills. So also improve staff welfare and motivation at all levels, especially for frontiers of conservation and the establishment of mental health awareness programs, peer support systems, and counseling services within conservation institutions. In Tanzania now we are talking about afya ya akili, the frontiers, especially rangers. I think this is one of the components where we have to tap it, because sometimes there is a changing scene in the field to see injured people, injured wildlife, dead people. So there is a need to take on board this mental health and counseling services because of the nature of their work. Hereby presenting to you on behalf of the committee for the resolutions of this conference. As I said, they will be refined and shared with some of our participants, and once they are final, the institute will submit them formally to the ministry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Keyu, the Director of Research. I think this worth another round of applause to yourself, because you have brought all these issues during your presentation. So can you give one strong round of applause for yourself for bringing this here? 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, the following session is award presentation, and this time we are going to award best presenters, scientists, both oral led by Dr. Mariale, who is going to disclose who are these winners in this category. And another category will be the best exhibitors, and also this is going to be disclosed or presided by Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. So please, Dr. Mariale, can you come in front? And in the meantime, honorable guest of honor can come this way, so that, and this time around I should make sure.
Honorable the guest of honor, board of directors, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to announce the names of the best young scientist presenters who have been sharing very informative and nice studies during this 3 days session. We had a total of 28 young scientists who we were assessing, and actually only 21 managed to. 15 were oral, and 3 were poster presentations. And we had a team of judges from TAWIRI and 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. So each room had at least 3 to 4 judges who managed to make this happen. So for our first winner, run-up for oral presentation is 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕�, who presented on implementation of the ecological mitigation measures by tourism accommodation facilities in protected area, a case study of Arusha National Park. And for the poster presentation, we have Mariam Michael with the title Spatial and Temporal Dynamics of Illegal Bushmeat Hunting in the Serengeti Ecosystem. Thank you. Miriam Michael, poster presentation. Is she around? On our behalf, if somebody knows her. I think someone is coming. Okay, you can come on her behalf.
Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, please.
Good afternoon to you all, and thank you very much for entrusting the evaluation team, who are Dr. Flora Magige, Dr. Damas Masologo, and myself, Dr. Kizia Mkwizu. So on behalf of the evaluation team, I would like to thank very much Professor Flora, Dr. Damas, and we had to evaluate over 19 exhibitors, and the criteria we used was neatness, cleanness, both the booth arrangement and organization, exhibitor smartness and professionalism, innovation and creativity, quality of educative message, audience engagement, and interaction. All exhibitors did a wonderful job. We thank you very much. And as the host, TAWIRI also did a great exhibition. And on the evaluation, we had to exclude TAWIRI, as the reason is that they are the host and they've given the opportunity to other exhibitors to be in this best category. So we had the category of general winners on the overall. So they covered the overall categories, and the first runner for the overall winner is WWF. Congratulations. And congratulations, let us clap for them. Well done. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And on the same category of overall winner, the second is Oikos East Africa. Oikos East Africa. Thank you very much. Please come forward. Yes, let us please clap. Thank you, thank you. And the third winner for this category of overall winners is 𝒓𝒔𝒆. 𝒓𝒔𝒆, please come forward. Congratulations. Please clap. Can clap for the winner. In our second category, we were looking for the best exhibitor in innovation in relation to the conference theme. And the first winner is TAWA. Please let us clap. Thank you very much. And the second winner in this same category of Best Exhibitor in Innovation in relation to the conference theme is TFS. TFS, come forward, please. Yes, thank you. Please clap for him. And the third winner on this same category is Savannah Tracking. Savannah Tracking, please come forward. We appreciate you. Savannah Tracking. Any representative from Savannah Tracking? Anyone to collect on their behalf? A round of applause as they receive the gift. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now the last category is Best Exhibitor in terms of more educative message, the way that they were educating us about their displayed products. So the first winner again is 𝒓𝒔𝒆. Yes, it's it's 𝒓𝒔𝒆. Please, if you can clap. Thank you. Thank you very much. And the second winner is Wasima. Wasima. Yes, Wasima, come forward. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let us clap for her. Thank you, thank you. And the third winner of the category for Best Exhibitor, More Educative Message. The third position goes to NCAA Ngorongoro. Please come forward. Representatives from Ngorongoro Conservation Area Authority. Thank you very much. Yes, let us please clap hands. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was not an easy task, but we would like to congratulate those who have won. And above all your exhibitions were very, very good. We thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for a good work. Guest of honor, please, there is one more certificate award, and this goes to the organizing committee. Because there are many, and for the interest of time, few are going to receive on behalf of the rest of the organizing committee team. And the first will be the chairperson of the organizing committee, Dr. K. And the second will be the secretary of the organizing committee, Dr. Jenny Mary. The third will be Anna Mchani. And the fourth representative will be Noel Alfred. Honorable guest of honor, that marks the end of award presentation, and we thank you so much for that session. And please kindly.
Honorable guest of honor, I know he didn't know that he has also a surprise. So I'm not taking back here, but he will come and receive his certificate for great job has been doing for all the 3 days. And this certificate goes to the Mr. Imani Nkui for moderating the conference, organizing us, making us listen and receive all the important information from presenters, comments from participants. So please, we go together and they will receive this certificate.
Wow, this is really a surprise. Thank you very much, organizing committee. Now it's time to receive an official remarks. And without further ado, let me take this opportunity to welcome the podium Director General, Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute, Dr. Mjingo, for his remarks.
Honorable Guest of Honor, Dr. Kohi, Director of Research and Tourism, Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, representing Director of Wildlife, board chairs who are here. We are honored to have a board chair from Wildlife Research and Training from Kenya. You are mostly welcome, and we are happy to have you here. Representative of the Conservation Commissioners, colleagues, scientists, sponsors, media team, good evening. With your permission, Guest of Honor, before I give my three or four words, allow me to welcome my outgoing board chair to just thank the audience. What you see, our performance was under their guidance, and he was a board chair. Karibu sana, Dr. David Manyanza. Karibu sana.
Guest of honor, Dr. Kohi, Director of Research and Training in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, representing the Director of Wildlife in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism. Mine is just a few words as an outgoing chairman of the board. I stand here representing the board. I note that there are few board members around. I would just like to request them to stand up for recognition once again, please. Thank you. This is a very important conference, and this is a second conference during the tenure of the board that I led. And this conference, the importance of this conference stems from the fact that it brings together many scientists in the conservation and sustainable development field, which with a very broad spectrum of age, educational background, and work experiences. That spectrum ensures that there is, in effect, continued contribution to the ideal of sustainable development through conservation. And as the board, we feel very privileged to have been able to work as an oversight and operational governance institution of the college. We are happy to be associated with this conference. As an international conference, not only does it constitute a platform for networking, ensuring continued support of the various individuals working in this arena, but also it is a mechanism that will continue to support the ideal of sustainable development, tourism development. We are proud as we go out, having completed our tenure, to note we leave the institution strong. I would like to take the opportunity also to thank the Director General and his management and the staff of the institution for having worked so hard during this whole time to make this possible. Thank you very much, And once again, guest of honor, thank you very much indeed.
Honorable guest of honor, with your permission again, we fall under wildlife subsector. So with your permission, allow me to call Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, representing Director of Wildlife, to just say a few words on behalf of the sector. Dr. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕.
Thank you very much, Director General, guest of honor. Mine would be to thank all the participants of this important international conference. I would like to say that as the wildlife sector, we are very proud to have you here in this conference. Over the past 3 days, it has been very informative and very learning experience for us. We have experienced a number of papers presented here, but also we had the opportunity to have a symposium, which were very pertinent to this conference theme, which is innovation in wildlife conservation and sustainable tourism. And as we know that in a changing world, our tourism depends a lot on the wildlife conservation. So, guests of honor, I would like to say that apart from the dominance of the wildlife sector, we are very much also aware that the tourism depends a lot on the wellness of our wildlife and the management. So we hope that in the coming TAWIRI conference, we will also have a support from our partners, particularly to have more also insights on the tourism side. Today, this morning, we had a keynote speaker who was giving us a talk about sustainable tourism, and it was very inciting for us to learn that we need to have knowledge about how we can keep our environment, our thriving wildlife, and continue to have more tourists in our areas, but also keeping in mind that at the end of the day, it has to be sustainable so that we can have continuous appreciation of our natural resources. But also, I would like also to say that we are very much recognizing the participation of our young wildlife scientists, particularly those who are coming from the colleges. And we have noted that this year they have done quite well. So I would like to encourage you to continue to work very much in this sector of wildlife, but also tourism, as Tanzania depends on you. So with these few remarks, I would like to say that as wildlife sector, we appreciate and we hope to work with you in making sure that the conference resolutions are really going to be implemented. Thank you very much.
Honorable guests of honor, I now have pleasure to say a few words. I am very, very humbled to give my thanks to you all participants. We TAWIRI have felt your presence and we have actually learned a lot from you. Your presentation have been very informative and they will really contribute positively toward conservation and tourism development. We welcome you again to the 16th conference that will be coming very soon. The conference, as you all know, they are biannual, but it's not very far. It's very close, so please get prepared, and we hope that we will be there to see the conference that is coming again. We really appreciate you senior researchers, senior scientists, promoting the young scientists to do this. We have seen good examples. Allow me to cite example from Professor Hanoff, We really like how you bring new young scientists to come and see. We know a lot of senior scientists here can do that. It's time now that we look like going out, and they are the ones that are going to take our places, so in a science. But also, let me recognize many and good presentations from management authorities, from TANAPA specifically. We had nice, enjoyable presentations. I personally enjoyed very much presentation done by somebody, Tuti Ndaga. That was amazing. Yes, if you can stand and they can see you. We didn't consider you as a young scientist. You are not a young scientist. So, but that presentation really inspired us as TAWIRI. That area is the emphasis of tourism, and for tourism, we need information. Serengeti is like this. All the tourists go to Serengeti because of the information we are presenting here. If we actually calculate the percentage of the material presented here, you still can witness that still a lot of material is coming from north. So we are hereby encouraging you to actually now spread downward so that we have evenly distribution of tourism. But I would like to thank you, our sponsors. You are very important in the these conferences, and please, we urge you actually to increase the level of sponsorship. This conference is the only place that will inform the government, and is the only place that the government will see your output directly in a scientific arena. With these few remarks, I now will welcome Dr. Kohi, the Director of Research and Training, to say just one word and invite the guest of honor to give us remarks and officiate this close. Dr. Kohi, please.
Thank you. The guest of honor, Koba Mabura, our Deputy Permanent Secretary, the Director General, Dr. Ernest Mjingo, the outgoing board chair, Mzee Manyanza. But I know you're not tired, even though it's Mzee. I'm happy to see all the researchers, and some of them I haven't seen them quite long, including Tom. He's also around here, and so many others. The ABRU team. I don't know who knows the ABRU team. So that Mzee has been in Mikumi for many years, but he's attending the conference. So we appreciate for all the efforts you're doing as researchers and academicians to make sure that the future of wildlife can be defined in these changing climates, dynamics, and all various sorts of development that's going on. I was told to just use one word, and I take my pleasure to invite the guest of honor to give, so as he can give us the closing remark. Please, you're welcome. Take the podium, and the people attentive to listen to your closing remarks. Karibu sana.
Dr. Ernest Mjingo, Director of Research, Director of Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute. Dr. Edward Kohi, Director of Training and Research in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism. Let me also recognize the presence of our outgoing chair of TAWIRI, Dr. David Manyanza, as well as the board members of TAWIRI. In a special way, let also me recognize the presence of board chair of Tanzania, of Wildlife Research and Training Institute from Kenya. Let me also recognize the presence of our heads of institutions which fall under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism, as well as their representative. Let me also recognize conference sponsors, keynote speakers, organizing committee led by Dr. KU, distinguished scientists as well as researchers, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. It is profound honor and to stand before you as we close the 15th International Scientific Conference. Over the past 3 days, we have witnessed not just a gathering, but a powerful convergence of minds, passion, and commitment to the future of wildlife conservation. I was informed that this conference of this year, more than 650 participants and a representative from over 24 countries responded to the call. Your collective presence is a testament to the confidence you place in TAWIRI as a leading platform for scientific dialogue and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, under the theme of this conference, Innovation in Wildlife Conservation and Sustainable Tourism, Navigating the Future in a Changing World, we have engaged in one of the most vibrant scientific exchanges to date. Across more than 250 presentations, including 196 oral presentations, 51 posters, 5 symposia with 11 papers, 7 seminars, and 3 workshops, we have explored a remarkable range of ideas, solutions, models, and future pathways. These discussions did more than inform. They challenged us, inspired us, and reminded us that science remains the backbone of effective conservation policy. The insights shared will undoubtedly shape decisions at institutional, national, regional, and global events. Ladies and gentlemen, a powerful theme echoed throughout our deliberations: the urgency of combining technology, science, and sustainability to address emerging conservation challenges. We indeed have seen examples on how data science and remote sensing is strengthening wildlife monitoring. Predictive models help mitigate human-wildlife conflicts. Technology-driven solutions in tourism can be broadened and increase or expand economic opportunities while safeguarding ecosystems. But more importantly, climate research is a reshaping on how we manage protected areas. The responsibility now rests on all of us, TAWIRI, government agencies, partners, and sponsors, to ensure that these ideas and these recommendations that have been presented before us do not remain in conference halls. They must be translated into swift, practical, and scalable action on the ground. To our exhibitors, sponsors, and partners, allow me to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the 22 exhibitors whose creativity and commitment brought this conference to life. Your contributions demonstrate the innovation is not a future ambition, it is happening here and now. To our sponsors and partners, including the Ministry of Natural Resources and Tourism through its institutions, Royal Conservation Limited, United Asia Group, the Nature Conservancy, Six Rivers Africa, Barrick North Mara, TANAPA, TFS, WWF Tanzania, 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 Fund, FZS, NCAA, TAWA, NIC, the Jane Goodall Institute Tanzania, Gadgetronics, ACU, Tafoli, Alteza, ECHO, Mweka, Oikos East Africa, Beekeeping Training Institute, WCS, Nawiri Foundation, Kenzan Luxury Camp, and Fiti Olmotoni. Your support is not only appreciated, but essential. You have demonstrated what genuine partnership looks like, and we encourage to continue collaborating as we prepare for future conferences. To our organizers and participants, a special word of thanks goes to the organizing committee, whose dedication, sleepless nights, and professionalism made this event such a success. To our keynote speakers, Professor Dev Jan, Professor Neva Muboko, and Dr. Oblet Njingo, thank you for enriching this conference with knowledge that will resonate long beyond our closing ceremony. And to you, our distinguished researchers and scientists and other participants, your enthusiasm, questions, and commitment to advance science and conservation have given this conference its true meaning. It is our sincere hope that the dialogues held here have met and perhaps exceed your expectations. To our international guests, for our visitors from near and far, we thank you for choosing to be with us in Arusha. We invite you before we depart to explore our breathtaking national parks, cultural heritage sites, and landscapes that define Tanzania as a global conservation leader. Ladies and gentlemen, with these remarks, I wish you all safe travels back home and every success in your future endeavor. With that said, it is my honor to declare the 15th TAWIRI Scientific International Conference officially closed.
Thank you very much, our guests of honor, and through DG, I've been requested for one official photo for organizing committee, because the first day they were busy doing other stuff. So organizing committee, please, can you come in front in 1 minute, please? Because this is just a favor. Otherwise, our guest of honor is supposed to go to the airport for his departure. So all organizing committee team members, as they come, I also like to announce one announcement. The organizing committee has prepared evening tea for you. Don't leave, because it's going to be an audit query. So we invite you all to join and enjoy our evening tea.
Asanteni sana. Now, this marks the end of our session. So please, karibuni kwa chai.
Taasisi ya Utafiti wa Wanyamapori Tanzania TAWIRI ni taasisi ya umma chini ya Wizara ya Maliasili na Utalii iliyoanzishwa kwa sheria ya Bunge namba 4 ya mwaka 1980. Lengo ni kufanya, kuratibu na kusimamia tafiti za wanyamapori nchini. Dira ya TAWIRI ni kuwa kituo cha ubora katika kutoa ushauri na taarifa za kisayansi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bioanuwai katika ngazi ya kitaifa na kimataifa. Dhamira kuu ya taasisi ni kuendesha na kusimamia utafiti wa wanyamapori nchini, kutoa takwimu na ushauri wa kitaalamu kwa serikali na mamlaka za uhifadhi kuhusu uhifadhi na usimamizi wa wanyamapori nchini. Utafiti wa wanyamapori ni muhimu katika uhifadhi endelevu na utalii nchini. Baadhi ya tafiti zinazofanywa na taasisi ni pamoja na muingiliano wa watu na wanyamapori, magonjwa ya wanyamapori, ekolojia ya wanyamapori, tafiti za ufugaji wa nyuki, kuidadi wanyamapori na matumizi ya teknolojia katika uhifadhi. Mambo mengine ni pamoja na uandaji wa mipango mikakati ya kuhifadhi wanyama muhimu kama vile tembo, faru, swala, twiga, sokwe mtu, tumbusi na kuendelea. Kadhalika, utafiti wa wadudu pamoja na ukusanyaji wa taarifa za wadudu nchini wenye umuhimu katika masuala ya uchavushaji na kuhakikisha afya ya mifumo ekolojia nchini. Vivutio vingi vya utalii ni matokeo ya tafiti za wanyamapori zilizopelekea kufahamika kwa tabia mbalimbali za wanyama kama kuhama kwa nyumbu na vipindi vyake katika mfumo ekolojia wa Serengeti. Halafu, mfanano wa tabia za sokwe na binadamu wanaopatikana katika hifadhi ya Gombe na simba wawezao kupanda miti katika hifadhi ya Ziwa Manyara. Hivi karibuni tumeshuhudia ongezeko la watalii nchini ikiwa ni matokeo ya filamu ya The Royal Tour. Na kwa maana hiyo, taasisi imeendelea na jukumu lake la kuishauri serikali, mamlaka za usimamizi wa wanyamapori na Watanzania kwa ujumla kuhusu uhifadhi endelevu wa rasilimali zetu. Kwa kutambua umuhimu wa jukumu la kitaifa linalotekelezwa na TAWIRI, TAWIRI imeendelea kufanya tafiti za kimkakati ikiwemo urudishaji na uhifadhi wa shoroba za wanyamapori katika miradi mbalimbali ya kimaendeleo ikiwemo mradi wa kufua umeme wa Nyerere, mradi wa treni ya mwendo kasi ya umeme maarufu kama SGR, ili kuweza kuishauri serikali katika kuhakikisha uhifadhi wa wanyamapori. Hii ndiyo TAWIRI.
Sio kama natania